Hey guys, Andrew here. I just got checked in at the hotel. I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio for my second bodybuilding show of the competition season. So if this is your first time joining the channel, what I like to do is cover my progress when I go into a show and I explain what I'm doing and also why I'm doing it. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. There were some things in my first show that was 3 weeks ago that I don't think went that well, and I wanted to show you guys some of the results I've had in the past 3 weeks that changed some of those things. Now, first and foremost, there's only so much you can change in 3 weeks as far as body composition. I think there's a lot of things that I need to address in my off season that you can't do in 3 weeks. But there are certain things you can do in the immediate right now to make yourself at least a little bit better. And what I mean by that is maybe my body composition won't change, but the ingredients and the fuel that I'm putting into my body definitely can. And I want to cover what I didn't like from the last time and what I did like from this time. We'll see if it all works out. I hit the stage tomorrow. I can't wait to show you guys those results. But before I go there, let's just kind of backtrack a little bit. 3 weeks ago, I did a show where the two most important things I did not cut water and did not cut salt. That I think really went well. You can see them pretty vascular right now. This was consistent throughout the whole peak week and the prep for the one 3 weeks ago. That all went well, but I want to cover what did not go well, the carb load. The truth of the matter is, I don't really like carbohydrates that much. I follow a low carb diet. If you've been watching me before, you know I do a lot of fasting. I do a little bit of keto, and as of a few weeks ago, I even did 7 days straight of bacon, which I absolutely loved, and I think I'm gonna keep doing that going forward because I really liked how I felt that whole time. But in the context of doing a bodybuilding show, carbohydrates to fill out the muscle are necessary evil. And so for the show I did 3 weeks ago, I didn't want to have a whole lot of like sugary things like cereal and candy bars. That's what a lot of bodybuilders do. So I thought, you know what, I'll mix things up. I'll do French bread. The thing I experienced, and because I wasn't eating French bread during my prep, was I had extreme amounts of GI discomfort, so that did not go well. I was having nothing but French baguettes, which if you know are those big massive loaves of bread that are like 16 inches long. And I was eating as many of them as I could. I felt terrible the whole time. So I just really didn't like that. Plus, once I got to the hotel, I was surrounded in the lobby. It had like cookies, things like that. And once you start eating carbs, it's kind of hard to stop. Like the thing I don't like about carbohydrates, just in general, is that not only does it change the way you feel, but I feel like it changes the way you think. Like, I'm normally low carb. I'm usually in very good control of my mind and my body. When I had all those carbs coming in, I just felt a lot more anxious. I felt a little bit more indecisive, and I felt like I was making impulsive decisions. Like when I'm on keto, if I see a cookie, it means nothing to me. But once I had those French breads in there, it was like a key was unlocked in my brain that made me say like, oh, the cookie, I gotta have it. I can't not have this cookie. And I really didn't like that. I couldn't stand it. Felt bad about it driving home from the show because I think what ended up happening was I did what they call in the bodybuilding world spilling over. It's when you have too many carbs before you compete. So just a quick explanation of that. So your muscles hold what's called glycogen. It's basically just sugar, water, and a little bit of salt. So imagine your muscles are water balloons. You fill up the balloon with water and it gets nice and full. But if you put in too much water, it pops. Well, unlike a water balloon, when the water pops and hits the floor, whatever, but in your body, there's nowhere for it to drop. So it just instead spills over into your skin and you end up losing all your vascularity and your muscles look very smoothed over. Most people actually experience spilling over all the time. And they experience it, you know, like on Sunday mornings when they're like hungover, or if they've had a ton of, you know, food late at night. You get that round, soft, doughy look in the morning. Well, that's the last thing you want when you're getting on stage for a bodybuilding show. So I think that happened to me 3 weeks ago. What am I doing this time? I decided, okay, so I've got 3 shows. I competed 3 weeks ago. I have a show tomorrow. Then I have a show in 2 weeks in Illinois. So I was like, you know what? I got a little bit of wiggle room to do some experimentation. So I'm experimenting with this show with doing 0 peak week, which means it's basically, tomorrow's just another Saturday. It's like I could just be going to the gym, right? So that's what I've been doing. This whole week I've been doing maintenance. I normally have the low carb keto lifestyle anyways, so I just kept doing the carnivore diet, which was basically nothing but bacon and eggs. I loved it, felt great all week, and now I'm here at the hotel. Now I do need to do some carb load tonight, which is where these come in, rice cakes. So what makes these rice cakes different from everything else is that they're plain. There's no actual sugar on them. And my hypothesis is that because there's no sugar, there's no sweetener on them, there's nothing here that has flavor, it's basically like cardboard. It's going to not have so much of a reward system for your brain to just constantly hit you with dopamine. I've already had a sleeve already. It hasn't been that exciting, and I think it's working. So you can have a rice cake. I have 4 whole sleeves of these, which ends up being like 500 grams of carbs. Gonna have that tonight, tomorrow, normal breakfast. I'm gonna go to the hotel lobby, just a normal breakfast. Bacon, eggs, if they got muffins, have some muffins. Other than that, it's just a normal Saturday for me. I'm just gonna be living my normal life, except I'll be at a bodybuilding show, sitting backstage, which is kind of like being in a drunk tank because it's a bunch of orange dudes in sweatpants and hoodies just sitting there. Nobody talks to each other because you're about to compete against them. Anyways, back on track. So, plain carbs. I don't like carbs. Necessary evil. Can't wait to get home and go back on carnivore because I just like it. Maybe not carnivore, but at least like keto. Low carb. That's the name of the game. Can't wait to do that, but I'll have a little bit of rice cakes. Where do I go from here? Well, I'm at the hotel. I've showered, shaved, and all that good stuff. I'm about to go downstairs, get my spray tan, and then I'm going to do my ritual. I've done this for every show. After I get my spray tan, I go find a movie theater. I'm in a city I'm not familiar with. I don't really live in Cleveland, so I'm gonna find a movie theater, watch a movie, and just chill. Because the last thing I want to do is start getting anxious and start eating food. So far, it's worked out for me. Every show that I've done, I just need to figure out what do I do to avoid food when I'm backstage. We'll figure that one out as we go. But the good news is, all I brought with me are rice cakes, and I got my potassium and salt for electrolytes, which I actually want to hit that real quick before I go downstairs and get my spray tan. Let me explain some things real quick. I didn't cut water. I've been drinking a lot of water all day, probably close to like 1.5 gallons. At this point, it's like 8 o'clock at night. I'm putting a little bit of this in each water bottle I drink. So I've got a protein shaker bottle, it's not in the hotel room, it's still in the truck. I fill that up with water, do about 1/8 teaspoon of potassium, and then 1/4 teaspoon of the good old Himalayan salt. Aside from that, these are unsalted rice cakes. So for me, the variables are really easy to like keep an eye on. So unsalted rice cakes, I got my electrolyte waters. One last thing, powdered dextrose. I'm not having any of this tonight. This is coming with me backstage. So what I'm gonna do, about a half hour before I get on stage, I'm going to basically make a super Gatorade where I'm going to take the salt, potassium, and maybe, like a 1/4 cup of the dextrose, put that in a shaker bottle, and for about a half hour, I'm just gonna sip on it. That's gonna make my veins just pop out like crazy. Should be able to get a really good pump backstage, but aside from that, I'm gonna do my best not to eat much food after I have the hotel breakfast. So, plan is get backstage, check in, do all that stuff, and literally like watch movies on my phone or something, or maybe I'll film and talk to you guys. Aside from that, guys, I gotta finish this rice cake and I gotta go get this spray tan. So I might say hi to you guys when I'm at the movie theater. We'll see. I still have to find where. I still need to see if this city has one. It's not technically Cleveland. It's like 20 minutes outside. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys soon. Alright guys, I've got my spray tan. You can't really tell because I'm in the truck, but I'll show more at the hotel. But for now, I'm at the movie theater and I'm gonna go see Expendables 3. Or is it 4? I'll be honest, these movies, they're not terribly important to me, but while I'm in the movie theater, I'm not gonna be eating food. And that's what's most important, because all I want to do is just not be tempted. And you can't be tempted in the movie theater when you're sitting there watching the movie. Alright, can't wait. Should be a fun time. Should be a fun movie. Whatever. It's an action movie. Go back to the hotel, sleep, wake up, have breakfast, and go compete. That's the plan. Alright, see you guys in the next scene.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Well, here I am. I'm back at the hotel. Expendables 4 wasn't the greatest, but it did pass the time, and I've been doing good. No junk food, so happy about that. Got my spray tan on, and I thought, hey, this might be a good time to show you guys what we're working with for tomorrow. So I'll go in here, show you guys the physique a little bit, and then it's kind of funny, but I'll show you what I have to sleep in because I'm covered in a spray tan that will destroy bed sheets. So I'll show you guys what that's going to look like in a second. Oh, and by the way, this is my cool little gizmo. I use this thing to move the camera around. There's a joystick on here, so it's kind of like playing a video game, you know. I'm moving the camera around while I do stuff, and that's how I get some cool footage when I'm out in the field. Alright, so I'll show you guys the physique real quick. Alright, so spray tan is smearing a little bit. That's pretty normal. You get a touch up in the morning, and then you get one final one before you hit the stage. So that's kind of where you get those smears to go away. Unfortunately, the tripod's kind of getting in the way here. So carbs have hit. Overnight I should kind of tighten up a little bit. I'm gonna keep it real light tomorrow. I'm trying my best not to eat too much, so I'm gonna have a normal breakfast. I am gonna go downstairs in the morning, probably have, it depends on what they got really, but gonna be looking for bacon, eggs. It's gonna be like a 1-piece or a 1-2 combo. Then I did see they had a waffle maker when I walked through the lobby, so probably have a waffle. I might see what else they got there, but in general, it's just gonna be a normal breakfast. I expect to hit the stage anywhere between 2 and 5 p.m. It's hard to know exactly when, but if I'm done eating breakfast by 9 a.m., all I'm gonna have backstage is like a sleeve of rice cakes. I went to the store on the way back. I grabbed 2 sleeves just in case. The plan is not to eat both sleeves, but you know, let's say I don't hit the stage till 6 or 7. It's gonna be better that I have rice cakes than like whatever be available at the show. Usually there's like cookies and bananas and things like that. Trying to just stick to my own plan. By having my own rice cakes, I can do that. And that's kind of that plan. So from here, I'm going to put on my bedtime outfit. Alright, you guys, it's absurd, but you'll see. Join the dark side. That was really corny. Alright, so I've got on this long sleeve hoodie, and we got on the sweatpants with the wool socks tucked into the pants. The whole point is to basically not get any spray tan on the bed, so don't want to lose my deposit. By the way, it's a pretty nice hotel room. I mean, look at this. Way nicer than the other hotel from a few weeks ago. Definitely liking this one a lot better. Way better lighting. Better mirror, pretty much better in every category. Very happy so far. But yeah, this is what I'm working with. Got to sleep with the hood up so that that doesn't cause problems. And we got our socks, the pants. I feel like a grandpa right now wearing all these clothes to bed, you know. usually a kind of a free sleeper, you know what I'm saying, but working with what we got here, trying not to lose my hotel deposit. So let's get that hood up. All right, now I am ready for bed. So with this, you know, I'm gonna finish off this last sleeve of rice cakes before bed. Chug a little bit of that potassium. Salt's in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Get a little bit more salt. Just want to make sure I go to bed hydrated. Do not want to wake up in the morning dehydrated. So in this one case, I really don't care if I wake up in the middle of the night to pee. Not a big deal. I know it's kind of a pain, you hate waking up in the night to pee, but in my case, that's a good sign because it means I'm still hydrated. That's the plan. It's about 12:30 right now. I'm gonna head to bed. Plan is to wake up maybe around, I don't know, 7:30. I want to get that breakfast in as early as I can. The earlier I get the breakfast in, the longer I have to digest it. I want to have a flat stomach on stage. About 6 hours is probably good. Once I get to the venue, I'm going to have those rice cakes as needed, but like they're not required. So if I don't feel like I need them, I'm not going to eat them. It's more important that my stomach is flat than it is to try to shovel in an extra 50 grams of carbs. Well, that's the plan. I'm going to get some shut-eye, and I'll check in with you guys when I wake up tomorrow. Alright, so here we are. This is me on stage going through my routine. In the future, I do want to go through and critique these. I think there's a lot of areas that I could make improvement. But for this video alone, I do want to touch up on the spray tan. The reason we get these spray tans is because even in this video, if you look, you can see that we're all looking a little bit washed out. And that's with the spray tan. If we didn't have the spray tan at all, we'd look so washed out that we'd look like ghosts on stage. So that's why we get the tans. I do want to cover my posing routine in bigger detail in the future. So from here, let's go check out my post-show analysis.
Thank you. This is your Men's Physique Open.
Go. All right, back here, back home. The show is over. Unfortunately, I didn't place again, but you know what? I had a really good time, and I attribute that good time to the changes in the diet that I had going into the show. So I didn't do a crazy carb load this time. In fact, I didn't even really do a peak week. Now, yes, I didn't exactly place, but I felt good the entire time. So instead of doing the crazy carb load that I did in my show 3 weeks ago, I did rice cakes and that's it. And I was very strict about that. And I was strict about it all the way through to getting on stage. Afterwards, I did have a couple Reese's because, hey, it's sober and it doesn't really matter anymore. But I felt good the whole time going into it, and I think that's what's really important. A lot of times when people compete, they feel really, really bad the few days leading up to a show because they're super dehydrated. They cut water to almost dangerous levels, and not only that, they cut sodium, so they're getting crazy dizzy. I didn't do any of that. And the thing is, it might have only made like a 5 or 10% difference, which in my case, it wasn't going to affect much because the truth of the matter is, this competition season, I just didn't get as lean as I should have. Going through my previous show footage, I've actually been leaner in years prior competing. It's just the way it goes sometimes, but I'm not beating myself up over it. What I'm happy about is that not only am I learning, I'm also finding ways to do this while still feeling good in and out of the gym, and especially getting closer to the show. When I started competing 2 years ago, I got really into that mindset, by all means necessary. Cutting the water, doing all this crazy carb manipulation, sodium manipulation. It really didn't feel good, but the fear of not placing well in a show drove me through. Now that I've got some years in the game, I'd rather find a way to do this while still enjoying life, and I think I've found that. So I've really enjoyed doing this ketogenic style approach to cutting weight. It doesn't mean I'm going to be ketogenic for life, but I actually felt really good this time around doing that bacon, eggs, high fat, low protein strategy. I liked it so much that I think that even when the show is done, I have one more in 2 weeks, so still got one more show in the chamber before we're fully in the off season. But I think after all this is done, I actually want to try doing a real keto protocol for a little bit longer. I almost said keto diet. I don't like the word diet. I think the word diet is a naughty word. When I hear the word diet, I instantly think punishment or things like that. So I don't really like the word. I like the word protocol because a protocol is a point A to point B. It's an action plan. It's not something that lasts forever. And that's what I like about it. The keto protocol. I could see myself running this for maybe another month or two just because it felt so good outside of the gym. When I was at work, and I have a full-time job outside of fitness, when I was at work I felt really good. I was able to participate in my job at a level that the job requires, which is something that can be very hard to do on a traditional bodybuilder diet. So for that reason alone, I think I want to try it even longer. And it'll help me stay lean in this off season. But there are some modifications that I do need to make. So when I'm on keto, my brain feels great. But when I'm in the gym, carbs make me feel great. So I think what I'm going to do is be keto most of the day up until my training session where I'll have just enough carbohydrates to really have explosive, awesome workouts, especially when I have a hockey game, because in hockey you really need explosive energy, and I didn't quite have that when I was fully ketogenic on the ice. Sure, mentally felt great, but I didn't have that explosive energy that you need to jive and juke and dangle when you got the puck or when you're trying to stop the other guy with the puck. And for me, that's very important. I don't want to be sandbagging in hockey over bodybuilding. I want to find a way to make all of these things work together. So where do I go from here? Well, I have one more show in 2 weeks. I'm back on my bacon, back on the eggs. I did throw eggs into the plan because the macros are similar and it gives a nice variety to the meal plan. 2 more weeks. I don't expect to make great changes here, but what I do want to do is try to tighten up just a little bit. The feedback I got from the judges was that my core simply isn't developed enough. That's not going to change in 2 weeks, but if I can trim down just a little bit more fat, it will help make those weaknesses a little less pronounced. I have a ton of stage footage. I do want to make a video where I go and analyze my own performance on stage, but some of it is that I do have to wait for some of that footage to become available to me. So I can't exactly do that right now. But I'm very excited. When I have all my stage footage from all 3 shows, I plan on doing a big episode to show everything that I did wrong. I don't want to say wrong, but I want to show everything that I did so you can kind of see why I didn't win. And I also want to show some of the guys that did win and be able to talk about why that happened. Because for me, I'm really interested in the sport and I don't take any of this stuff personally. The guys that won simply had magnificent physiques and I don't want to take that away from them. So when I do this video, I do want to say what they did to win, because I think that's really cool. And it gives me something to shoot for when I compete again. I think I'll probably compete again next year, but I do need some time to really be honest with myself. Can I make enough changes in 6 months to start thinking about competing again? No matter what, all the shows for amateur level are done in October. So all the national shows are going to be in November. I'm not going to qualify for those no matter what. And then all of the shows are basically done until April. So that gives me a 6 months off season no matter what. I could decide to compete in April or I could push it back to next fall. I'm not going to make that decision right now, but it's definitely on my mind and I kind of want to compete again in April. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to be honest with myself and see, can I make those core adjustments? And I want to bring you guys with me on that too, because I have a lot of ideas and I think it's really cool that I can show you guys what I'm doing in real time to get better. If it works, all the information will be there available for you guys to grow as well. So this is going to be the end of this video. If I still got you, if you're still watching, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. I'm going to have tons more content just like this coming out. I'll bring you guys with me, share all the knowledge I have, and hopefully you guys will be able to use some of this knowledge in your own journeys. So with that, guys, I'm going to leave it here for now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.